Hi Scorpio, this is Mimi with Divination by Mimi. Welcome to your April 2017 Tarot Oracle with a little bit of astrology reading. We will be doing an elemental spread, and for you we will be using the Thoth deck or the Tahuti deck. We will be using the Cartouche based on Kemetic mythology for clarification, and if we need it, we've got some runes to clarify further. Now, April is a very active season astrologically, or active month astrologically. As it relates to you, your ruling planet is Pluto, and you have a co-ruler, or what used to be considered your main ruler, Mars. So Pluto is in the sign of Capricorn, and on the 19th, Pluto will go retrograde, and that retrograde will last a while. Yeah, that retrograde don't look to be going direct for quite a while. So from the 19th through the end of April, you will be, or your ruling planet Pluto will be in retrograde. Your co-ruler is Mars, and Mars is currently in the constellation of Taurus. It will be moving into Gemini right around the 22nd of April. So as it relates to the Martian energy, they sort of war god, fast-moving, active, masculine energy, that will be somewhat tempered by the slow, earthy nature of Taurus. And in Pluto, whether it's retrograde in Capricorn or direct in Capricorn, it's affecting those things that are very earthly. So Pluto tends to be about, the god of the underworld. So it tends to be about unearthing concepts, unearthing things from the past, unearthing motivations for the reason that we do things. And in retrograde, this basically is even more of an opportunity. But it all is in Capricorn, which has to do with status, the physical world, accumulation of wealth and status, and what that means possibly on a lower octave, how that might manifest itself in the shadow. Okay, and that's what Pluto is great at, is digging that up and having a look at it. Okay, now this is retrograde April, so just to give you an idea, starting the month off, Venus is still in retrograde. She will remain in retrograde until the 15th of April. She's been in retrograde a little bit now. She goes direct on the 15th, and she, let's see, she will have entered the sign of Pisces on the 4th. And when she's in Pisces, she's going to be forming oh gosh, I can't think of the word. She will be forming a very close aspect. I'm dumb on the word right now, but she will be conjunct, I think that's the right word, very, very close, like within 10 degrees of Chiron, another astral body. And the archetype for Chiron is the wounded healer. So when Venus, the goddess of relationships, love, value, things that we value, beauty, things like that, is in retrograde, that means she's revisiting, remembering kind of the way Pluto is, okay? But in this case, when she is so close to Chiron, the wounded healer, she's actually revisiting those old wounds and how they motivate us. She did this a couple of months ago. She's doing it again when she was actually stationed in Pisces. But now she is doing this again in a retrograde status, meaning she is revisiting those old pains, those old hurts. And so it may be a little bit uncomfortable, but it's a really good opportunity since, with Pluto being your ruler, you kind of have an instinct to dive deep into motivations anyway. You're not shy about being curious about why people do the things they do, sex and death, the 8th house. So okay, other retrogrades to be considered. This is an interesting one. Saturn is going to be going retrograde. Saturn is in the sign of Sagittarius, and it's a big planet, an outside planet, so it's moving slowly. So it's not likely to leave Sagittarius. It will be in retrograde till the 25th, but the interesting thing is it's going to be forming a very close conjunct. I hope I'm using that right word, conjunct. Again, I can't, my brain has left me. close aspect within 10 degrees and sometimes right on top of 0 to 0 with the galactic center. And this really, again, with a retrograde is revisiting, returning, reconsidering ideas. When we're talking about Saturn and we're talking about the galactic center, we're going back to very old concepts, very old ideas of right and wrong, good and bad, evil and heavenly. Really old stuff that we learned at a very, very young age. So be prepared, and not just you as and me as an individual, but the whole collective is going to be revisiting what we thought at one time were tried and true, concrete, stable institutions, such as the church. So religion, financial institutions, governments, all of this is kind of up for reconsideration right now. And that's right through to the 25th of August. So this whole year is going to be quite a busy, busy, active, energetic year on the macrocosm and on the macrocosm. So as without, so within, as above, so below. It affects us as a template of the outside world, of the larger collective. So we're feeling all of that. Another retrograde that is occurring is Mercury. Mercury goes retrograde on the 9th, I believe. Hold on. Yes, on the 9th, and will go direct on the 3rd of May. Mercury is currently in Taurus, I believe. Mercury is, no, sorry, Mars is in Taurus. Yeah, Mercury is also in Taurus as of the 1st of April. Starts to go retrograde on the 9th. In Taurus, Mercury is, again, like the energy of when it mixes, when Mercury being the intellectual energy, you know, the thinking, communicating, the messenger of the gods kind of energy. When that energy is connected with Taurus, which is kind of an earthy, plotting, slow-moving, calculating, sensual sign. It does not have such a quick, reactive, quicksilver type of mercurial way. It doesn't move quite as quickly. However, in its retrograde, it will be revisiting Aries. That happens on the, hold on, 21st. Mercury will enter Aries, and that is well into the retrograde, obviously. But also, this is about when we need to be careful about how we speak, how we communicate. Make sure we double check that email to make sure we're not using any kind of a emotional knee-jerk cutting reaction, you know, because the tendency will be there. Firstly, with Mercury in retrograde, messages are not going to be very clear. They'll be miscommunications because not all the information is really available. And plus, you know about all the other glitches that happen during, you know, mechanical issues and electronic issues. Things like this happen during the Mercury retrograde, but also our communications with others, with loved ones, with all of these relationship retrogrades, right? There's going to be, and with all this kind of this deep shadow work that we're doing collectively and individually, there might be a tendency that we'd have raw nerves or raw energy, and a tendency that we might, you know, lash out at someone, not meaning to. So again, from the 9th through the 3rd, make sure that you are checking how your emails read. Think a little bit longer before you speak. And on that note, before you start any new projects or sign your name on the dotted line, consider it long and hard before you do it. In fact, if you can wait till after the 3rd of May, do. So anything like getting married, getting divorced, adopting children, starting school, finishing school, buying a car, buying a house, selling a house, things like that. Big investments that are contractual things that will have an impact on you for the next 5 to 10 years. Maybe hold off on them till after the 3rd of May if you can, if it's at all possible. On that note, being that it's not a good time to start something new, it is, because it's a retrograde, a very good time to go back and finish things that are undone. Tie up loose ends on projects you may not have completed yet. And then the last, well, there are several planets in retrograde, but these are the big ones that are going to have a big impact because of the aspects they're creating. Jupiter is going retrograde on the, hold on. When do you go retrograde, Jupiter? Jupiter, when do you go retrograde? You go retrograde so much. Hold on. I think it's on the 2nd as well. Yeah, Jupiter in the constellation of Libra goes retrograde on the 2nd of April and will remain in retrograde for a while too. So for the total of April, it will be in a retrograde status. And on that note, it will be forming some difficult aspects with other planets. So, for example, Saturn at the galactic center, making that very close conjunction in a retrograde status, is making a direct square with Jupiter in a retrograde status in Libra. So this may mean that some old things that have happened in relationships, some old things you might have said or done, they might come back up to your reality again, might come up to present themselves to you and maybe bite you on the butt a little bit. So be prepared to say, I'm sorry. Be prepared to be open-minded and consider that, you might have been wrong. Not just you, all of us. This is the energy that's out there. Because it's when it's going back to the galactic center and it's looking at institutions, things that are Saturnian in nature. And with Saturn, with it being Saturn being in Sagittarius, and with it being with Jupiter, it's going to expect you to kind of come correct with your response, whether it's an apology or an explanation. So just be prepared for maybe old actions and words that you've said to come back. The other square that's going to occur is with Saturn. Hold on, Saturn and Venus. Venus in retrograde, when she's making her conjunction with Chiron in the sign of Pisces, will be making a square with Saturn. When? No, I'm going to sound like I'm crazy. No, I am crazy. Fairly sure that was true. Where are you? Saturn, squaring Libra. Chiron. So it is making a square to Chiron, which again, it talks about the limitations of, going back to old ideas, going back to old hurts, what those meant, and reconsidering again what those kind of institutions, ideas, concepts mean. I'm sorry, yours is taking a long time. I'm going on and on. The other one that I wanted to tell you about is there is a square at the end of March, which could still be impacting you, the shadow period of Pluto with Saturn. But that should be cleared up. Let's see, Pluto had squared. Pluto. No, there was somewhere in here around the 30th. Pluto squares the moon. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. I don't want to keep you any longer than I am already, but there is a rough aspect with Pluto and Saturn at a certain point, which again is revisiting old ideas, old concepts, old. Oh, there also, sorry, there's a full moon in Libra on the 11th, I think. Sorry, guys, yours is not very succinct or well planned. Yeah, the 11th of April, there's a full moon in Libra. And then later in that day, it's going to move into your constellation, Scorpio. And then there is a new moon in Taurus, your opposite. And that is on the 26th, which is a Wednesday of April. All right, so let's get into, since I've wasted a whole bunch of time on that, hopefully it helps someone. We're going to be doing the elemental spread with the Thoth or the Tahuti Tarot. Try to figure out what kind of energies you need to know about for the month of April. All right. So this will be Akasha, earth in the north, air in the east, fire in the south, water in the west. And we'll draw first for Akasha or spirit. So what does Scorpio need to know on a spiritual level? What kind of guidance? You receive the Queen of Wands as your central or spiritual issue. This generally is an Aries energy. Queens are cardinals. The cardinal sign of the fire element for wands would be Aries. In earth, you have satiety or satiety, 10 of cups. In the east, you have the 8 of swords, interference. In the south, you have the Empress, upright. And in the west, you have the Knight of Wands. This would be mutable energy in reverse. So this would be the Wands, which is fire. This would make it a Sagittarius energy in reverse. Okay. So having a look at what Spirit is communicating to you, is there something about an Aryan energy? This could be an Aries in your life. This could be a group of Aries in your life. And it would appear that Spirit is communicating to you something about them. She is in her upright position. This is a person that is absolutely in control of their life. If you notice, she has her head has the multiple spokes of a star. She's got her hand firmly on the head of a cheetah. She has a wand with an acorn at the top of it. She's fully in control. He or she, again, it's not gender specific, but this energy is fully in control of her surroundings, his surroundings. Very, very, if it is a female, it's very okay with the masculine energy. The very top, you've got the adept wand, the top, the winged disc. So this is someone who's very, very on top of their game. I'm thinking this is your energy, actually. Spirit is communicating to you that right now in your life, especially for the month of April, you're kind of in a great position. When superconscious is telling you you're in a very good position, regardless of what your thoughts might be, to handle everything. It's saying that you have a good handle on everything. She's in her higher octave here. To me, you've got a good handle on everything. So looking up here in the physical world, Malkut or Geb, this would be the manifested 3D world, finances, health, stuff and things. You receive the 10 of Cups. Okay? And the 10 of Cups is about the completion of a cycle, as it has to do with relationships. So, as it relates to your finances, as it relates to your health, you're coming to you're in a very good, balanced, and completed relationship with your day-to-day life, with your health, with your the regimes or the things that you go through every day, your schemes, how you get through your day, your schedule, how you're handling work and home life, how you're handling your finances, how you're balancing, fun versus socking away money for later. And it would appear that your health is in good order too. So again, Spirit is kind of telling you that on the level of, this is, when you look at it, the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, this is the happy home. This is the family, with the beautiful house, and they're so happy, and there's a rainbow and so on. This is basically you have it all as it relates to the physical world. So as it relates to, you're quite happy with what you have, is basically what this is saying. And that's a good place to be in, being satisfied with the physical world rather than striving for something for ego reasons. Now, over here in the East, it looks like you've got a lot on your mind. You've got the 8 of Swords, called interference. It's in the upright position. The 8s belong to Hod, which is the 8th Sephra on the Kemetic tree on the Kabbalistic tree of life, and I believe it's Sebek in the Kemetic tree of life. This is the Mercurial Sephirot. This would be a hermaphroditic energy. It's an intellectual energy. So it's almost like in the thought realm, in terms of what's on your mind, you might be making things a little bit more confused. Like you might be looking for trouble when there is none, right? Sometimes our thoughts can be our worst enemy, particularly when we live in first world situations, when we're not, dodging bullets every day yet on the way to work, or, trying to figure out, how we're going to get the children safely in from school before the bears come to eat them, something along those lines. And when we have that extra time, our mind can tend to wander. And I think this is what's happening here. I think everything's really going well for you, as Spirit's indicating here, but you're kind of looking for trouble. That could be maybe you're bored with everything being okay, and you're kind of looking for problems, seeking up drama maybe. So just be aware that that's something that you might have a tendency to do, and try not to entertain that during the month of April, as it's warning you that that is a tendency, that is something that's possibly that you're doing currently, and that can pepper you or season you through the whole of April. Try not to do that too much, because when we do that too much with all of these retrogrades, particularly the Mercury retrograde, and again, this is Hod, or Savek, this is the mercurial energy of intellect, thinking, thinking, thinking. Don't think too much. I know it's important to think things through, but don't think things beyond what your natural intuitive instinct would be, Scorpio. All right, I'll try to make this faster. In the South, which is fire, we're in the realm of wands or creativity. And you got a beautiful card, the Empress in the upright position. So there's some kind of very fecund, creative project that you've got, something very fertile, something very, I mean, you could be pregnant, you could be making a baby. But this seems a little bit more to me like, well, I don't know, with all this, with everything being kind of relaxed and in its place and you having a handle on anything, you might be ready for being a parent. But it could be that you or your partner is expecting. But what I'm really getting from this is some kind of a creative endeavor that you're starting, whether it's a project at work or it is an upstart business. It may be a creative thing that you're involved with, or a philanthropic organization or upstart that you're starting. Whatever it is, this is a perfect time to get involved with it, because the energy is absolutely there to feed that rich soil, so something comes of it. Something wonderful is going to come of it. Again, don't think too much on things. You give things thought, but don't look for trouble, I guess is what I'm saying. Try to find peace. Put your mind at peace, okay? Because everything really is good. Spirit is telling you everything's good. Now over here in the West, you've got the Knight of Wands, which is usually a Sagittarius energy. It's in reverse. Sagittarius are the Knights are mutable energy. They're moving energy. And this is in the relationship area. So this could be a Sagittarius or a Sagittarius energy in your love life or your romantic life, rather, or your family life that's maybe you're at odds with right now. I will seek some clarification on this for you, because I don't know if it's an actual person or a loved one, like a romantic person. But we'll take a look and see. Again, I'm really sorry I'm not very clear with this reading. I'm not even speaking very well. So hang in there with me, please, if you're willing to. We're going to use the cartouche here to get some clarification here. But it could be a Sagittarius in your life. Could be another fire sign, but usually the mutable, the Knights are mutable energy. Or if it's not a person, it could be a Sagittarian situation. This is ruled by Jupiter, which is a fiery energy, but it is ruled by Jupiter, which is expansive. So if it's not going well, this could be not going well in a big way. This could actually hurt quite a bit, and this may be why you're thinking so much. This could also be an energy that's around your family, like maybe there is maybe there's arguments going on. But let's see if we can find out. Narrow it down to if it's romance, familial, friends. So there seems to be a lack of groundedness in whatever this relationship is. You received Earth in the upright position. Since our main card here is a Sagittarian card, I'm believing it's a person, and whatever interaction this, or I mean, if it is more than one person, it's definitely a fast-moving, mutable, expansive, fiery energy that is at odds. It's it's like an argument, or just difficulty. It's like there's arguments. There's problems, and it looks as though this is way too, there's too much fire, too much movement, too much activity, and this all needs to be grounded. And I think the fact that you're thinking, this may be what all these thoughts are about here. It looks like things here are lining up beautifully. You and yourself spiritually, you know, the God source is telling you you're in a great place. You've really got your life under control, in terms of creativity and in terms of home and security and finances and health. That this is all in order. Something's about to become creative, but there's something over here in relationships, and I'm kind of feeling like it might be a group of friends or family. I don't think it's necessarily a relationship like one person, like a romance. I'm thinking that this has something to do with, I'm seeing family, like family is causing you problems, family is at odds with you, family's got your head going, it's got you overthinking things, it's got you questioning yourself. And it's a matter of grounding. Somebody in this situation, of all this group of people that have this high, hot energy, especially as we go into retrograde season, really seriously, somebody needs to be down to earth here. So I'm thinking Spirit is calling you to be the one to say, okay, whoa, Nelly, let's all take a chill pill for a second and take a deep breath. We're friends, we're family, first and foremost. Let's stop there and appreciate that. Now let's work through our differences. Okay, and have a little more trust in yourself, because this turmoil here, because no one has been willing to root themselves in earth, to get down to earth about this whole thing. It's got your mind reeling, questioning whether or not, you know, your perspective on it's okay. And whether you're right or you're wrong, just take the high road. Spirit's telling you to take the high road and say, okay, you know what, I'm going to be the one that says, let's hold on for a second. Let's, you know, reevaluate what we're actually yelling about. Are we actually yelling about the same thing? Does it mean anything? Is going on with this argument going to hurt our friendship or our family more than it's helping it? Okay. And again, with this retrograde season, with all this stuff with Saturn in squares with Venus, in, you know, conjunction with Chiron, this is old hurts if this is family. So there might be a lot of arguments going on. So and again, your head might be questioning everything. So, you know, take a deep breath. Be the one that grounds at least yourself. Yeah, obviously, you have no control over other people, but you do have control over yourself. So that means backing away and disengaging your mind from the energy here, then do it. I'm really sorry, guys, but I think that this is very clear here. You're in a good place as it relates to relationships, or not relationships, as it relates to creative projects. There's something coming up here that is going to bear fruit, absolutely. In terms of your finances and your health, everything's in good place. And in terms of your perspective on life and how you're holding yourself in the world, Spirit likes how you're doing that. You're definitely in control of your surroundings. You're a queen or a king, however you want to put it. But over here on the relationship front, because you're in such a good place, Spirit's kind of telling you, you be the one to take the upper, be the one to back off and ground yourself, quiet the mind a little bit, go into maybe some reflection and meditation, and remove yourself from this, because this is going to hurt this beautiful piece you've created. And oh my gosh, yours is almost 30 minutes. I'm so sorry. Okay, so this was a general reading for Scorpio. So if you've fallen asleep by now, or if it didn't resonate with you, then, and you'd like a reading that's really more specific and tailored to you, please feel free to email me at mimimemes@hotmail.com. That email address is in the description box below the video. If I don't hear from you, or if you have questions or comments, if you want to tell me to go fuck off, then by all means leave that message for me in the comments below, and I will address them accordingly. Otherwise, if I don't talk to you individually or in the comment section, then have a wonderful April. I will be uploading a full moon and a new moon videos, and otherwise I'll see you at the beginning of May. And hopefully I'll be a little bit more succinct. Thank you so much, Scorpio. If you did watch, you have a great April.